At exactly 9 a.m., in order to not break the streak of all those chairs ahead of me, I now call the March 26, 2026 South Carolina Department of Transportation Commission meeting to order. Please remember to silence your phones if you've not already done so. Since our January meeting with the elections, we have switched a few seats and even filled a seat. I would like to take a moment to welcome our newest commissioner, Marty Sauls, who is filling the 6th Congressional District position. Commissioner Sauls. He has also been asked to join the Audit Committee. He was sworn in yesterday and completed his orientation. Welcome, Commissioner Sauls. I would now like to call the roll. Max Metcalf, here. T.J. Johnson.
Here.
Bill Dukes.
Here.
Pamela Christopher.
Here.
Curtis Spencer.
Here.
Marty Sauls.
Here.
Sel Hemingway.
Here.
Britt Blackwell.
Present.
Thomas Rhodes.
Here.
A quorum is declared. Is there a motion to approve the March 26, 2026 meeting agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the agenda is approved. If you will, please join Commissioner Blackwell standing as he opens our meeting in prayer, followed by Commissioner Spencer leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you'll bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the safe travels of all commission members in attendance for today's meeting. We pray for the commission to be guided by your wisdom to govern with compassion and humility. May our discussions be pleasing to you by the principles of your word, seeking the common good and upholding the values that honor you. Guide the hearts and minds of the commission members to make decisions that serve the best interests of South Carolina and its citizens. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 6.1 is the approval of the January meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions about or revisions to the minutes of the January 15, 2026 commission meeting? None. Is there a motion to approve the January 15, 2026 commission meeting minutes and actions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing no opposition, the minutes from the January 15th meeting are approved. Next on the agenda is a resolution. This resolution was requested by the commission as we felt it appropriate to honor SCDOT employees across the state for their outstanding response to the winter storms of 2026. I would like to call on Mr. Andy Leapart to read the resolution, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commission, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate the honor of reading this morning and for the recognition you're giving our folks. A resolution commending the employees of the South Carolina Department of Transportation for their outstanding response to the winter storms of 2026. Whereas the employees of the South Carolina Department of Transportation have long been known as the masters of disaster. We are on the front lines of storm response and recovery in South Carolina. And whereas on January 16, 2026, parts of South Carolina began experiencing sleet, freezing rain, and ice because of Winter Storm Fern. And whereas on January 31st and March 1st, 2026, every single county in South Carolina saw some amount of snow accumulation from Winter Storm Gianna, with some counties reaching nearly 12 inches of snow. And whereas SCDOT crews worked around the clock before, during, and after all storms, pre-treating roadways, clearing and de-icing roads, and removing downed trees to safely maintain travel and mobility across the state. And whereas SCDOT crews put down more than 6 million gallons of salt brine as part of their preparations and response to these winter events. And whereas SCDOT employees work tirelessly in difficult weather conditions to keep roads open, emergency responders moving, and the people of South Carolina safe. And whereas the dedicated crews work for several weeks on end, sacrificing time with their families and putting the people of South Carolina first. Now therefore, be it resolved that the South Carolina Department of Transportation Commission, assembled this 26th day of March 2026, commends and expresses gratitude to the employees of SCDOT for their continued dedicated service, tireless work, and valuable contributions to achieving the mission of the department and for always answering the call to serve the people of South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Leapart. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution honoring the SCDOT employees for their outstanding response to the winter storms of 2026?
Second.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The resolution honoring the outstanding SCDOT employees for their response to the winter storms of 2026 is approved. These storms affected every part of our state, and so we have asked a representative from each of our 7 engineering districts to be present and accept a framed resolution for the respective district. Commissioners and the district representatives, you're all seated there, please join me on the platform for the presentation and pictures. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. What we'll do, I think there's one right here. Oh, my goodness, sir. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You look like it's gonna be a small one.
job, Chairman. And they're off to work.
I would like to extend an offer to all the commissioners, if anyone would like to say a few words about that presentation before we back to the agenda.
Guy on the block that I just wanted to tell you, Mr. Chairman, and my fellow commissioners, and to all the staff I've met over the past couple of days. It's been fast and furious, a lot of information, but just so welcoming and inviting, and what a great honor it is to serve up here with everyone and work with such a great staff of talented people. Many people who I met had been here 25 years, 20 years, and that resonated with me because in order to keep that type of tenure, you've got to be a part of something really great. And that's obvious to me. And just wanted to say thank you. And I'm looking forward to learning a lot and being a part of a great organization. So thank you for welcoming.
Glad you're here. And what you did just experienced, there will be times over the years where we're recognizing this team. They are the masters of disaster, as was said, and just do an incredible job, and you'll see that firsthand. So I'm glad that this occurred during your first meeting with us.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone else right now?
Sir, if I can?
Yes.
I just want to thank everybody that was here today. I hate that the district engineers are still not here, but they're obviously getting back to work, doing the work of our people. And you'll never find a more dedicated team. I know I can speak on half the commissioners. When we call our district engineers, they're on top of things, and always. And sometimes when we call them, they're already aware of things. So, and I also want to give credit to our team here, the SCDOT team, secretary, and your team. Y'all work tremendous hours too, and we really appreciate everything y'all do. And it's definitely passion and service to our state. Greatly appreciate it.
Anyone else? If not, next on the agenda is item 8. This is our public comments. Mr. Secretary, are there any public comments?
We have no one signed up for public comment.
Great, thank you. For items 9.1 and 9.2, I will call on Secretary Powell to present the Secretary of Transportation report as well as the legislative report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the commission. Welcome, Commissioner Sauls. So glad to have a full dais up here again of all 9 of y'all. I do want to echo just the commission on the hard work and dedication our team had during the January and February winter storms. It was a lot, 3 consecutive weekends. I know I wear a Garmin, and it tells me if I'm in good condition or not in good condition. I think I finally have just recovered from that period of time. I know that Deputy Perry, Chief Leaphart, and the rest of the team can probably attest to that, but a true reflection of the dedication that our folks have day in, day out of making sure that the traveling public stays safe and can get to where they need to be. So I just want to echo the gratitude of just the dedication of the DOT maintenance forces, traffic engineering, construction forces. It was an all hands on deck operation to get through these winter storms. One other item here before I get into my report, as you know, we do a leadership program that we recognize high potential people in our organization. It's our LEAD program. We have 5 participants from the LEAD program here. I'll ask them to stand up and be recognized for y'all. First is Brooke Andrews, who's the District 2 Human Resources Manager. Sean Futch, who is our State Bridge Design Manager. Timothy Parker, who's the District 6 District Mechanical Engineer. Ashley Sandell, who's our Director of Health and Safety, and then Nakatha Simmons, who will be trying to hide in the back there. But as y'all will know, we are going to be presented with our audit at the end of the audit committee meeting. Nakatha plays a part, as part of the whole finance team, plays a big part in making sure that we had the 8th straight year with no findings on our audit report. So I want to recognize these 5 folks that are here today. We'll start off our report with safety and looking at some of our statistics. Right now, we are unfortunately at 122 traffic fatalities since the year began. On the positive side, while that is 122 too many, we are, compared to last year, at this point last year, at 169 fatalities last year. So we see our efforts, both with our partners at the Department of Public Safety, as well as our efforts from our Traffic Safety Office in trying to bring down fatalities, continue to work. You will have a report and a briefing from Deputy Secretary Perry later today on the State Strategic Highway Safety Plan that was just recently updated. He will also be asking y'all to approve some additional safety projects to go on the priority list to go forward from there. Tomorrow, we will be doing an event with our partners in law enforcement to acknowledge the improvement in our fatalities. We were down to our lowest level in over a decade this past year. We want to continue those efforts, and that one of the things that we will be doing is kicking off a new campaign that we will be doing with the Department of Public Safety called Be That Driver, and that'll be more revealed tomorrow. But continuing that 3 E's of safety, of engineering, enforcement, and education, and we definitely play a part on that engineering side, but doing our part on the education as well. In terms of our vulnerable road users, similar, a positive trend emerging. Last year at this time, we had 40. Right now this year, we've had 26 pedestrian or bicycle or moped fatalities during this course of the year. Keep in mind, this is only 2.5 months worth of data, so while the trends are encouraging, a lot of things can change, particularly as we get into the summer driving months, holiday season. We'll be vigilant and looking how we proceed from there. In terms of our construction program, we just dipped a little bit back down at $6.6 billion, but continue to be at a high level of construction activity. As y'all recall at my State of the DOT last week, I highlighted where we were in 2017, and you can look at that point on the chart, but we are nearly triple in terms of the production that we are doing in terms of the construction projects outstanding across the state. So a reflection of the hard work of this commission, the hard work of the DOT team, as well as the dedication from General Assembly and our federal partners in making sure we have the funds to do these big projects. In terms of the breakdown of our construction program, I would say is there's not much change from last month, just kind of tweaks here and there in terms of the total construction value, but again, reflects your priorities that you have in the 10-year plan of interstate capacity pavements, bridges, safety, as well as our regional mobility program, all those activities as well. In terms of our construction program, we did see our on-time percentage worsen since the last meeting to 19%. Something that we are going to keep an eye on. We want to see if this is just an ongoing trend or if it will go back to where we were about previously on that. We'll be running through that data in terms of if there's particular project types, particular issues related to that, and certainly we'll be able to report to y'all on that. On the positive side, the budget variance had decreased from last meeting from 2.24% to 1.52%. And again, our contracts are still working within that at least 3% contingency that we apply on every one of our construction projects. In terms of change orders, there were about $1.9 million worth of change orders over $250,000 on $6.6 billion in active contracts. The details here, and I'll ask Deputy Secretary Perry to chime in if I misspeak or need more detail for y'all. First one up here is related to a preservation job, so that's where we're only really working on the first 2 inches of the surface course of the interstate. Once we get in there, sometimes we determine there's a need for some additional repairs that were not necessarily focused. That's what you have here. The recently completed I-77 railroad overpass that we are doing as part of the Scout project, a change order there based on some additional excavation that was needed for some of the structural elements, $266,000 change order on a $26.6 million, just slightly over 1% variance on a very expedited, very quick project that we turned around very quickly. So something that we worked very hard to stay within our tolerances on, and very proud of our team for getting that done quickly. Guardrail, similar issue that we have, we try to estimate what the guardrail strikes are in a given year, and we make change orders when those strikes exceed what we've had on this one for District 5. And then last one, obviously, is the I-85 project, the reconstruction in Cherokee and Spartanburg counties. There's about a $500,000 change order on this contract. One of the things that we did several years ago on that project was we went from, the project was originally planned to be entirely concrete for its pavement surface. We made a decision to expedite and to end the chutes, the traffic control that we were doing at that time, to move that job into asphalt. What that meant was that we knew that there were portions of the underlying roadway that needed additional work. We just didn't know, they have all the samples in that when we made that call in the field. So those are the additional excavation and replacement that we had to do on that from there. I'll pause there, make sure Deputy Secretary Berry, I missed anything on that, and then answer any questions from the commission.
So I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
And that's regarding the I-77 railroad.
Yes, sir.
Where's that funding, the 266?
That comes from Department of Commerce, so that it comes from the funds. Yes, sir. And we set up on those contracts a contingency, just like we did, so we were well within our contingency limit on that one as well.
And also I see a contractor that's listed a couple of times here that historically has been an issue.
Yes, sir.
And does that continue or?
Well, I mean, certainly the big project that the I-85 project, that is now in substantial completion, so we are working through the final closeout things with that contractor. Obviously, we do have, they do win a lot of paving work from time to time, and that's what we see on this one contract here.
So is it a new organization or is my understanding that the organizational structure has changed? So if you see that name, is it?
So they acquired another asphalt company that does a lot of our paving work in the state. But what I would also say is on the 85 job, it was a joint venture. So you have more than one contractor involved due to the size of that as well.
Yes, Rep. Blackwell.
So, there you go. As you know, I'm kind of thorny about 85, but let me go up to 77. Can you explain to me the cross slope correction?
So a cross slope correction, I'll get myself in trouble pretty quickly, so my turn to Rob. But basically what we are doing is making sure that the road drains. And so we are trying to make sure it has the appropriate grade, basically, that the crown on top goes from there. We oftentimes have to do a lot of work in the field and making sure that that they're within our existing tolerances from there. Rob, anything I'm missing on that you can?
No, you said it is a federal requirement to have cross slope on our interstates. Again, it's trying to reduce the opportunity for hydroplaning, reduce wet weather crashes. What I tell you about I-77 that most folks don't know, but it was concrete, and then we went back years ago and capped it with asphalt, very similar to what we had to do on I-95 with some of the panels failing. And so it's full depth concrete work and then cross slope correction on top of it. And then the last one on I-85, I just wanted to point out that the contractor wanted $700,000 for this change order, and we said no. We agreed to what we thought was reasonable, which was the 576. So I just wanted to spell any rumors that we just accept what they submit to us without doing our due diligence. We do our homework too.
We already read my mind, so you got ahead of my question. But what were they? 7 years? 8 years?
It was in that range. That one and Hardscrabble were our two longest construction projects that we've ever had. And to Secretary Powell's point, when you took the concrete out to get the usable life of the pavement structure with asphalt, it had to be a thicker section, which is why we had to undercut and go down. We couldn't go up, we needed to go down. So that was the undercut.
Was the asphalt decision made because it was running late?
Yeah, I'll chime in, Commissioner, and the decision to switch from concrete to asphalt. If y'all will recall, we had we were in a chutes arrangement, so we were splitting the traffic where one lane was on one side of the barrier wall, one lane was on the other side of the barrier wall. We were having really not necessarily any more than crashes than we were normally accustomed to on that corridor, but there was a decision made that those chutes were causing delays, causing issues from there, and so we moved ahead with removing those chutes under former Secretary Hall. In order to do that in an expeditious way, we made a decision to move to a asphalt base, which doesn't need that same traffic control measure on there as we do on this one. And so because it was our ask to do it when they were prepared to design a concrete contract, it is one of those things that we have to own that expense because we basically asked them to change path in the middle of the contract.
Well, my concern is they didn't own the delays, the 8 years. We're paying them more money, so that's, I mean, y'all fight the battles, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and throw stones, but it's just wrong.
Well, our recourse is liquidated damages per day. So we did start charging LDs for Blythe Zachary for being late. And then later on this agenda, you'll see an extension for frontage road on I-85. And so what I think Secretary Powell was trying to get at, it's not to Blythe Zachary, it's to another paving company. But we had some frontage roads where whenever we had an incident on 85, the interstate traffic would jump off and they would take local roads and tear those up. So we decided we need to put those in a good state of repair, the frontage roads that were torn up, just because we want people locally riding on bad roads because tractor trailers or whoever, big trucks are driving on these frontage roads to get around incidents.
Are the legal protections in the contracts being modified to learn from this experience with I-85 as far as having more teeth?
Yes, sir. So let me, I think we learned a lot of lessons out of the I-85 job in terms of the, how we did that. And it was a design build project. We really don't do mainline widening design build projects anymore. So we do those mostly through bid build. But what I would say is we learned a lot of lessons in terms of kind of the prior path of us would be is we'd get the project to a certain point, throw it over the fence to the contractor and say, all right, this is yours. We've done a lot of work on identifying risks up front on a project. So this project had a lot of risks. One, it was a narrow, tight corridor where we basically had to reconstruct the entire interstate from ground up. Every part of that interstate basically has been rebuilt. So it's a brand new interstate than what was there. You had a lot of railroad coordination issues. That is a common area that we have challenges on. And we went back and forth with CSX on that one. I think we've learned a lot of lessons in terms of getting ahead of that. There was also a lot of challenges with water utility relocation in there as well. And so what you see on a lot of our projects now, and I would say what we are doing on Carolina Crossroads has been directly resulting from this. So we are spending a lot of time right now clearing the trees that you see right now on that corridor is really setting up the stage for the next major piece of work, which is just going to be moving utilities for the next few years so that we can reduce that risk that we have with the project. So I think we've come in and tried to identify things like that. We have gone back through our contracts in terms of additional provisions, but how you make a design build project work is making sure that you've identified and addressed those risks. And I think we have done built in the processes as well as take those activities that we try to get rid of those risks or know them up front before we go into a contract.
Any other questions on that or comments on that topic? We'll keep moving.
Yes, sir. So our 10-year plan accomplishments, big four that we have every meeting, just kind of highlight here, rural road safety from last meeting, we had 1,212 miles underway. We have 1,241 now. Pavements, last meeting, 10,272 up to 10,406. Bridges up 7 to 471. We've had no changes in interstates. Obviously, those projects kind of go back and forth. When you look at our rural road safety program, working very aggressively to get to our amended target of 1,300 miles. We now have 22 more miles where the full scope is complete, another 24 that have gotten into design since last meeting. So we are keeping our pipeline moving as we get projects going along here. In terms of our bridge program, again, with our adjusted target, we started at 465. We now have over 471 underway, but our adjusted target of 450 bridges. 4 more completed. One I'll highlight in Greenville. South Hudson Street was just opened up. That's in the new Unity Park in the city of Greenville there. We only have 1 more bridge to complete from Hurricane Helene repairs, which is the West Washington Street Bridge there in Greenville. We received access to the $200 million appropriated by the General Assembly for this current fiscal year last month. So will start programming those projects so we can get more projects out and underway. On our interstate program, no real change in terms of our progress. Obviously, those come in much larger chunks. The next 2 major projects that you will see getting underway this summer, fall, we will be letting the I-26 mile marker 136 to 145 in Calhoun and Orangeburg counties, and then I-526, the Long Point interchange. We got a fairly sizable federal grant for that. We will be opening the price proposals in the first week of June. So we will continue to do that. In July at our meeting, Deputy Secretary Quattlebaum will be coming to you with a updated interstate list as we get more things underway, make sure that we keep that pipeline ready to go. In terms of our gas tax, new gas tax fund, so the funding that we got from the 2017 roads bill, $5.7 billion of that has been collected since 2017. About $5.5 billion are available for us for construction projects. About $5.9 billion and commitments have been made in terms of getting projects underway. So we have basically, and I think it's important to note, we have gotten every single penny has been committed, and more so, obviously that's partially timing. We get all our projects underway by March, but we still have a few more months of the fiscal year for collect revenue. We also have some disaster reimbursements that will be coming back into that. You know, I think what's an important thing to note, there's a lot of talk right now about suspension of the gas tax. Obviously, that's a policy decision of the General Assembly, but if they don't make a decision to backfill those funds, it's not that we are sitting on money. So it will have an impact on us that we have to either stop letting new contracts. It would have an impact on maintenance if the General Assembly does suspend the gas tax without backfilling that funding from somewhere else. So something just to keep in mind of how we can move forward from there. Surplus property, you can see the majority of these are donations of roadways donated to cities and counties that were interested in taking over it. There was one fairly sizable transfer of, you see there in Kershaw County, that was a sale of controlled access, basically, that we had purchased in the past, the ability to buy their right to the access to the system. They paid for that as well as for the relocation of that access, and that has been included in there just as a fairly large number than what you normally see. In terms of accomplishments, it has been a busy past few months. As I told the commission a few weeks ago, we reopened the SC 133 bridge in Pickens County. That was a bridge that had an oversized concrete truck pass over it and cause substantial damage on it. And just really 7 months since it was closed, and in 6 months since we got the construction project underway, we have opened the bridge, got it open to traffic. Big deal there. If y'all recall back last Father's Day, we had a tanker truck incinerate the old Vaucluse Road Bridge on I-20 overpass there. Early March, we were already setting beams, and we are ahead of schedule to get it reopened before this coming Father's Day. And then last, just something I think just to highlight the hard work of our team. You know, I've shared with y'all, we do a innovation challenge where we encourage our team to come up with new ways to do their business, and we do an innovation challenge through our Office of Materials and Research. 3 of those projects are going to be highlighted by AASHTO at the upcoming AASHTO spring meeting in Savannah. So 3 of our folks, Donald Mahoney, Becky Owen, and Paul Phillips, all came up with sometimes small but creative ways to improve our operations. And so they will be recognized and part of the competition nationwide that's going on from there. With that, I will pause on my report and answer any questions. If not, Ted Creech, for Director of State Government Affairs, can come and give you all a brief update on where we are legislatively.
I would actually like to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
On the road paving, the 10,000 miles, that is 1/4 of our state highway system
Yes, sir.
has been paved in this time frame. What kind of mileage do we think is being paved at the local level? I mean, do we have a way of knowing, county paving projects, are there such things very much, or is
We
it
can,
mostly state?
it'd probably be anecdotal evidence, the best that we can find. I know that there's some projects, so for example, the Spartanburg sales tax program, we do a lot of their paving for them, but we can see what we can find. It's going to be probably a little hard for us to kind of come together, but we can come with the best estimate.
My point being, there's more going on
Yes, sir.
and below these numbers at even the local level as well, and I think it's important that people know that and recognize it. Yeah, sorry about that, I turned my head. Yeah. I'm just saying it's important that people know that there's more even going on than what we just see with the state numbers. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Creech? You've had nothing to do lately, have you? It's been really?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the commission. We've heard a lot about recently DOT modernization legislation. The Senate introduced version of that bill has passed the Senate, has gone over to the House. And in fact, there is a House Ways and Means Subcommittee that is meeting this afternoon to consider the modernization legislation. But I think we've talked some about that in the past. Includes things like NEPA assignment that would expedite permitting, P3 opportunities, and updating toll statutes, among many other items. So that is moving forward and keeping us very busy. There are many other things at the State House. In addition to the DOT modernization, I'll mention just two. The House passed its version of the 26-27 state budget on March 11th. For DOT, the House's budget sends roughly $400 million directly to SCDOT. This includes almost $250 million additional funding for our bridge program. The House also provided $125 million for interstate acceleration. That would allow us to keep up with inflation and better maintain schedules for the I-26 widening between Columbia and Charleston. We also received $25 million in one-time funding for a road buyback pilot program. This would provide incentives for local governments to take transfers of state roads to the local governments when we both agree on the transfers. The idea is to reduce the size of the state system by local governments taking ownership of smaller roads in their communities, and that's been a subject of the DOT modernization legislation as well. The House budget also includes $100 million one-time additional funding to CTCs. So while the governor had called for even more funding for roads and bridges, we thank the House for its strong support of our mission, especially as the House balances other needs and priorities, which include significant income and property tax cuts and a 2% state employee pay increase. This is just the first phase of the budgeting process. It's not locked in by any stretch. The Senate will take up the budget in April, and it will go to a conference committee in May and June. So a lot still to be determined from a budget point of view for this coming year. The other item I'll mention is a bill that would extend the sunset date of Act 36, which is a 2019 law whereby SCDOT covers the costs that municipal and nonprofit water and sewer providers incur to move their lines because of SCDOT projects. It was referenced briefly a few minutes ago. We agreed with the water and municipal providers to support extending the sunset date for this law for 5 additional years to July 2031. The bill has passed the House and is on the Senate calendar for consideration right now. So that's my report, pending any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioners? Thank you, Tim. Yes, sir. All right. Item 10 is new business, and under item 10.1, this is the 2026 Traffic Safety Update and Priority List. Deputy Secretary Perry will present this item.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations, Commissioner Sauls. We're looking forward to getting to know you and look forward to talking to you later on this afternoon. I also wanted to thank the Commission and Secretary Powell for recognizing our district, not just our district staff, but headquarters staff too, because it is all hands on deck. And most don't know that, you all know that it's not just a day before the snow starts hitting. It's about a week out that we start prepping and making sure we've got salt and we're able to move everything around and all of our equipment's going. So whereas the average person thinks, well, I just got to have Monday off to make snowmen, our folks are working for 3 weeks straight. So just really proud to be a part of Team SCDOT. So with this, see if this thing works. I've got a traffic safety presentation. Before I get into that though, I wanted to talk about one other thing, bring back up I-85 that you brought up, Commissioner Blackwater. The liquidated damages on that project are $7 million. The liquidated damages we're applying to that contractor are $7 million. So I'm very appreciative of our traffic safety staff. They've worked really hard. I'll be coming back to you in May with a paving list. But it really takes a whole group of people to pull all the data and to really figure out what's going on, what's the best use of our funds.
Rob, do you feel like the contracts need to have more teeth to them?
I'll leave that to our legal team that helps us write the contracts, but certainly we have learned lessons and we're applying them. So we're trying our best not to get snake bit again. So a few things I'm going to show you today. You all should have a copy of the Strategic Highway Safety Plan. No test applied later. A lot of good data. About every 5 years, we're required to update it. This is the old one that was presented back in 2021. And it was data from 5-year period, and this is the update. It's a federal requirement that we update our Strategic Highway Safety Plan. And we don't do it in a vacuum. We do it with our partners with DPS. We get a lot of public input. And really what it does, it helps guide us on how we spend our funds, how we recommend to the commission to approve our spending plan. Another thing, too, that's in this presentation are the engineering directives. Per Act 114, we have to use a data-driven approach in selecting projects and recommending them to you. So they're just in the presentation so I can show you how we go about it. We've got 82 engineering directives total. And again, the two today are going to be 74 and 75. And then I'm going to present you a new project list or two new project lists. One thing of note that I've noticed in here is pedestrian fatalities. The highest month for pedestrian fatalities is in December, which seems kind of strange, but then you think about the time change and it gets darker sooner. So again, it helps us understand where the crashes are taking place and why, and it breaks it down by county. So lots of wonderful information. So I'm jumping ahead, but really the big thing is the Strategic Highway Safety Plan has emphasis areas. The last SHSP had 12. This one has 13. It's added back commercial motor vehicles, and again, this is based on 5 years of crash data. Another thing I'd always like to point out when I present to the commission is you can be in a fatal or serious injury crash, and it could be more than one thing that happened. It could be night, it could be a lane departure, and it could be an impaired driver. So don't get locked in that you can only be one of these things. You can be several of these things could be the causation of your crash. And then Secretary Powell pointed out, and you'll see not all of these are engineering. There are multiple E's in safety, enforcement, education, EMS is another one, and then engineering, that's where we fall in. A couple changes to the Strategic Highway Safety Plan is a lane departure now includes head-on and opposite direction side swipes. Again, if you're leaving your lane and you hit somebody, we still consider that a lane departure crash now. And then speeding now includes crash reports noting while going past the exceeded authorized speed limit. And then finally, in the old Strategic Highway Safety Plan, we did not have impaired users listed under the influence. We just used drivers. So those are the big changes. So here's the spending plan. This is what you've approved previously, the one that's current allocations. I need to point out the $176 million we had a proviso and one-time funds that came through the legislature. We dealt with that, or you dealt with that a couple of years ago, and we were up in Anderson for the commission meeting, and it went to rural road safety. We didn't ask for those funds, but we were certainly appreciative to get them. Around $21 million was redirected to the airport connector road down in Charleston that Charleston County is managing, and the remaining $96 million we put on rural road safety projects, again, trying to get to that 1,300 goal. So it's always good to look back and say, how have we done on previous projects? The road safety audits take some time. They're really one of the longer ones to develop on the safety side because we don't do these in a vacuum. We actually walk the corridor with our local government partners, with fire, with EMS. If there are any bicycle pedestrian advocacy groups, we invite them in. So the 2020 list, 27 of them, we've completed those field assessments, and we've got 2 that are programmed for letting, and then we've got another 22 next year. I will say, though, we've had some struggles with our local government partners, which has been a part of modernization and getting municipal agreements. State law says we have to get municipal consent to do these improvements within their limits, and we've had some that, while they agreed with the improvements, if it was something like corridor management or access management, then they changed their mind at the last minute and didn't want to approve the municipal agreement. So in one instance, in the PD area, in the North Myrtle Beach area, and it wasn't North Myrtle Beach, we had 2 miles worth of improvements, and another municipality didn't want the access control for 1,000 feet, so we had to take it out. We might have to do the same thing if you've read in the news summaries on James Island, where the city of Charleston is supportive of what we want to do on Foley Road. James Island elected officials don't seem to be. They're concerned about access control. So what we typically do, the secretary has been very supportive of me putting these local governments on the clock and saying, you either need to approve it or we're going to take it out and move on, because the longer we wait, the more crashes happen, and we don't need to wait on somebody for 1,000 feet. As I mentioned, we do the road safety assessments, or I think I called them audit. The term has changed over the years. Another thing we do, not only do we walk it day and night with those local partners, we'll pull the crash data, we'll pull the signal timings if it's signalized intersections, and we'll also look at lighting if lighting is an issue. So as I mentioned, Engineer Directive 74, that's the vehicular road safety assessments. Again, those are based on vehicular crashes. When we get to the list of projects, it's going to look like it's out of order, but I'm going to explain the why. So what we do is when we take the crash data, we take a 1 mile segment, and that's how we pick the initial cut of criteria for the candidate list. And then what we do is we expand that. So we say, what's happening outside that 1 mile segment? There might not be any crashes for the next half mile, but then you jump to the next half mile and there's a lot of crashes. So we'll do the whole 2 miles within the road safety assessment. So that's the why. We also look at logical termini. Do we need to take this to an intersection, or do we need to take it to the end of a street where the road ends as opposed to stopping short? You've all seen sometimes where some of our local government partners will, through zoning, require sidewalks, and the sidewalks come in as gas stations or Dollar Generals go in and they look like sidewalks to nowhere. Well, we don't want to be that organization. We're not that DOT. So here's the list of the vehicular road safety assessment list. As you can see, the crashes, the fatal and serious injury crashes are the first criteria. There are actually in order. There were 12 for the first one, 11 for the next 2, and then 10 and 9. But then when we expanded the length of the project based on other crash data, that's why it looks like it's out of order, but it's not. Because you can also see the lengths of the projects vary. They're not 1 mile. The first one's 2.2, third one's 3.1. So again, we let the data drive where we're going to do these assessments. And here's a map that shows it's all over the state. Greenville, 2 in Greenville, Horry, Orangeburg, and Berkeley. So let's jump to the vulnerable road users. That's a slide that Secretary Powell always includes in his report. That's pedestrians, bicyclists, and mopeds. Same thing, we take a 1 mile segment and we come with initial candidate lists and we expand that based on the crash data. We use the highest fatal and serious injury crashes for those bike ped, vulnerable road users, mopeds. And here's that list. Again, if you're looking at the VRU crashes, it looks out of order, but really it's 19, 18, 16, and 11 was the base number of crashes we used, and then we expanded the termini, the length of the projects, again, based on what we're seeing for crashes. And here's the map showing that these are all over the state as well. We've got one here in Richland on US 76, Greenville, Charleston, and Cherokee counties. So here's the standard certification by the Secretary. Obviously, the first one talks about the budget, the $136 million. And then the second one talks about the fact that we have followed Act 114 for prioritization with the 9 projects. 4 of them are vulnerable road user projects, and 5 are the current vehicular road user projects. And I believe there's a motion before you to approve this project list. And then once it gets approved, we'll put it out for a 21-day public comment period. And pending any substantive comment, we'll bring those back to the commission. And I stand ready for any questions you may have.
Secretary, does anyone have any questions about the revisions to item 10.1?
I have a question.
Yes.
Just in general about safety issues. It's not about can you give us a little discussion on some of the challenges of the markings, painting lines, and things like that? Because that seems like some places I go, the painting, the markings just deteriorated so much. And if we could get that low-hanging fruit, it would be a bonus. I mean,
So that is a great question, Commissioner Spencer. So obviously with 3 weekends of plowing, it got worse. I think we estimated $59 million in pavement marking repairs and RPMs we need to replace. You did increase in the last budget year the amount that we put towards pavement marking and signing. We went to $15 million. And we've got a lot of pavement marking projects going out in May, and they're spread throughout the districts. But there's also a federal requirement to have pavement markings, have a certain amount of retroreflectivity, which again, I'm using the engineer speak here, but for you to be able to see them. And it's a part of the MUTCD. And it's based on speed limit and daily traffic volumes. So that's something that we've got to work on over the next 4 years to make sure that obviously our high volumes have adequate pavement markings. But you're right, as the older I get, you see I'm wearing my readers too, the more it gets to be an issue. So we're definitely trying to increase. And then we're putting some safety funds towards pavement markings as well this year, the federal safety funds, because it's a permissible use. So our safety office and our director of maintenance office teamed up on the state funds for pavement markings and the federal funds so we can really try and supercharge what we're putting out. It is kind of difficult though because it's a very niche group of contractors. We were only getting 2 bidders in the state for doing pavement markings, and now we're getting 4. And the newbies are beating out the ones that we're used to seeing in the bids, so that's positive as well. But lots of states struggle with the small contractors like pavement markings, signing, signals. There's just not a huge group that does that. That answer your question?
yeah, it seems like a great business opportunity for somebody.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Rob, thank you for your presentation. You mentioned that the past report did not include commercial vehicles, but this one does. I was curious to know why the change and where did that originate?
It was based on crash data. I was just at a conference speaking for Secretary Powell up in Charlotte, and my Georgia counterparts said that 80% of all goods move on trucks, commercial vehicles. And I don't know if that was just Georgia or a national trend, but we've obviously seen that our port's growing. There's more truck traffic on our roads. We met with the trucking industry yesterday. So based on that 5 years of crash data that was used, we saw an uptick in commercial motor vehicle crashes. And so that's why we're trying to see what we can do to decrease those. And we work very closely with the transport police. They were here yesterday as well to meet with the trucking industry to tell them, hey, we're not trying to be punitive. We want you to get your goods to us too. We just want to make sure you're doing it safely.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It got my attention because it was new. And I also do believe that one death is too many. I think we all can agree on that. But it is nice to see the data that even though it's listed as commercial vehicles in the report, it's actually only tractor trailers. Mm-hmm. And with that data, 7% of the fatal collisions are from tractor trailers and 4% of the serious. So I think there is somewhat of a false narrative in the public that 80% of deaths are caused by tractor trailers, and that's not, because the data shows that it's less than, that it's 7 and 4. So I'm glad that that data is out there, because frankly, America does move by truck.
Totally agree, and you're right. It's kind of like we have the public meeting, somebody says they sat at a light for 15 minutes, and it really was like a minute and a half. So we love to have this data to back up what we're doing. One of the things in the spending plan is there's $1 million for education that we'll work with public engagement on. Again, that's one of the 4 E's. How best to go about educating the public about the statistics. Again, DPS has usually been the lead when it comes to that, and they go after federal grants, but we see this as an opportunity.
Great work. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Commissioner Christopher?
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure I understood that right. Did you say there was $97 million that was allocated from Anderson that went towards Charleston?
No, it was it was a proviso in the state budget. Sorry, and it was a $121 million proviso.
We voted on it in Anderson, but they put in the money for railroad safety in the budget, but in the language of the budget, there was a requirement that we had to redirect 21 million of the railroad safety money to a project in Charleston. That was kind of legislative done, but it was nothing was taken away from Anderson. It was spread across the state.
I was sitting there thinking, what? Thank you.
I saw the look on your face, and I didn't know why. I apologize for
You're fine.
skimming over that. Any other questions?
Seeing no other questions at this time, I would ask, is there a motion for approval of item 10.1, the traffic safety update and priority list?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, 10.1, the 2026 traffic safety update and priority list is approved. Thank you, Secretary, Deputy Secretary. You now have item 10.2. This is the 10.2 is the ratification of extensions. You will also present this item, please.
And I'm so sorry, you're stuck with me for 2 more items, this one and one more. So obviously, we bring extensions to you at each meeting, and that's usually when we have to have some work done that's outside the limits of a project, but we use an existing contractor to do that. There are 6 this time, and they're going all the way back from 21 January all the way through March 11th. Of the 6, there's $6 million in extensions. They're bridge repairs. The first one is a bridge repair, structural steel, bearings, and joints, again, to try and make sure we're not posting bridges if we can do repairs. And that was the one in Aiken. There's some full-depth patching down in Berkeley on Black Oak Road. Again, that was a road that goes to the lake. This not very high volume, but to the chairman's point, there's work being done on secondary roads by others like CTCs. We're going to get you those numbers for how much is being spent out of that 3.99 cents, as well as try to get you an idea of what local governments are putting towards it. But that's the second one. The third one, which is one I mentioned earlier, is the I-85. It's a frontage road. It was called Winslow. And it was one where a lot of folks were taking this frontage road whenever there was an incident on I-85, and it was just in bad shape. So we want to bring it up to a state of good repair. And then bridge deck patching and then pile repairs. So again, a mix of bridge and pavement repairs. And pending any questions, I respectfully request ratification of these 6 extensions.
Good. Does anyone have any questions about the revisions to 10.2?
Just a quick question. The bridge, I believe the bridge extension is 1.5 out of the total 6. Have we recovered any from the, if my memory serves me correctly, it was a tanker, I believe, that caught on fire below the bridge and caused the bridge to, is that the same bridge?
No, it's not. This is a different one. This was a SC 125. That was S102, Old Vaucluse Road over I-20. But Barbara in the legal office, they've got a third party that goes after insurance companies tries to identify, and they've doubled the amount of recoupment based on this contract.
So the bridge I'm referencing is it seems to be just it needed $1.5 million worth of repairs.
Yes, we did inspections. We're constantly doing inspections. That's what we were trying to educate the trucking association. So it's not going to be a static number of posted and load restricted bridges. And following an inspection, we realized that the structural steel deteriorated to the point that it needed some repairs. And usually, if the steel's going, it's because the expansion joints have gone and water's getting in between the deck joints and getting on the steel. So if you're going to fix the steel, you might as well fix the expansion joint and the bearing so you're not coming right back.
Thank you.
Commissioner, just kind of, when we deal with an emergency or a situation where we have a finding like that, there are a couple different vehicles by which we could always do an emergency procurement, which we would look at if there's particularly a traffic need. Extensions are oftentimes a way we can get work done based on bidded on unit quantity prices that we can get in, get the work underway as quickly as possible.
Very good. Let's see, I have to get back to where we were now. Is there a motion to approve item 10.2, ratification of extensions?
So move.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, then 10.2, ratification of extensions, approved. Now we have 10.3, which is the 21-day public comment on bridges. Deputy Secretary, will you please present this item?
Last but not least, normally you get Leah for the step changes, but that sees the bridges and Mari up here, we figure we just keep going.
Okay.
So back in July of 2024, the commission approved a new list of projects, and we're grateful for that to keep our bridge pipeline going. And two of those bridges, one was Secondary Road 20 over South Fork Edisto River, and another one was Secondary 1148 over Caw Swamp. One was in Bamberg, Secondary 20, and the 1148 Riverbank Drive was in Orangeburg County. So what we do is we go through and we assess the bridges, and sometimes what we'll find out is there's another bridge that's just a few hundred feet up the road, and it might not be posted, but it was built probably the same year, and it's not in too much greater of shape than the one that you approved. So what we're asking is to add these 4 bridges, again, 3 in Bamberg and 1 in Orangeburg because of their proximity. The ones in Bamberg, there's a bridge 320 feet away from the one you approved, and then there are 2 other ones that are around 300 feet each. So what we don't want to do is close a road, replace a bridge, and then a year later, we're closing the road to replace a bridge. So these are in design-built packages, so we'll use the low-impact design criteria for that. And then the one in Orangeburg, same thing. There's another bridge 350 feet away from the one that you approved. So what we'd like to do is get your consideration to add these 4 bridges so we can put them in the design build package and, again, not have to come right back a couple years from now with these other bridges.
Sure. Thank you. Is there a motion for approval of item 10.3 on the 21-day public comment? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Hearing no opposition, item 10.3, 21-day public comment period for the bridge-related matters is approved. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Item 10.4 is the 21-day public comment on transit, and I would ask Deputy Secretary Necker to please present this item. There you are.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I request commission approval to initiate a 21-day public comment period for projects selected for a rural bus and bus facilities discretionary grant that was awarded to SCDOT in 2023. All of the successful applicants have been awarded federal and state mass transit funds. The projects I'm bringing before you today are for the first round of applications. I'll be asking for the same approval for another round at the May Commission meeting. The transit agencies successful in round 1 are Newberry County Council on Aging, and they've been approved to purchase 9 vehicles. Senior Services of Chester has been approved for to purchase 10 vehicles. Berkeley Charleston Dorchester Rural Transportation Management Authority, which is a really long way to say Tri-County Link, has been approved to purchase 19 vehicles, and Spartanburg Regional Health Services has been approved to purchase 7 vehicles. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Yes, sir. Mr. White.
What's that approval based on again?
So we did a competitive application process. So we keep records. We have a transit asset management plan. So we're able to also kind of check what they send us, that their assets do need to be replaced. So basically, it's a replacement program. So this isn't just, hey, a bunch of people are going to be getting all these new buses. It's really to replace what's already in their current fleet.
And that transit plan is known as TAMP, correct?
Yes, it is.
Commissioner Sauls has learned all the new acronyms. So.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Good. Is there any other questions? If not, is there a motion for approval of item 10.4, 21-day public comment for transit-related matters?
Motion to approve.
Good. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion, further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing no opposition, item 10.4 for transit-related matters is approved. Next is 10.5, the revision of the 2024 to 2033 STIP for transit-related matters. Deputy Secretary Necker will also present this item.
So I request commission approval for the revision of the 2024 to 2033 STIP. So items A through C are for inclusion of 3 new projects in the ACATS MPO. All 3 of these projects utilize FTA formula funding that is allocated to SCDOT, and then we sub-allocate those funds to transit agencies, as well as in this case, it's their associated state mass transit funds. So items A and B are for the city of Anderson, and they will be using what's known as small urban funds for operations, capital, and for their rural part of their operations. Item C is for the Clemson area transit, and they will be using also small urban funds for operations. Item D is for inclusion of 1 new project in the Appalachian Cog region for the city of Seneca. The city will utilize FTA Rural Formula Fund that is allocated to SCDOT and then sub-allocated to those transit agencies, as well as, once again, their state mass transit funds, and in this case, all local funds, and they'll be using that for administration of their rural transit program. Items E through G are for an inclusion of 3 new projects in the Upper Savannah Cog region. All of these funds also utilize that rural formula funding that we sub-allocate, and all of them will be using it for operations. So item E is for McCormick area transit, and it's for their portion of their service that's actually in McCormick County and includes their state mass transit funds as well. Item F is for McCormick Area Transit as well, but McCormick Area Transit provides service in Greenwood County, and this also includes the local funds from Greenwood County that are required. Item G is for Edgefield County Senior Services and includes also their state mass transit funds. Items H through J is for including of 3 new projects in the Catawba Cog region. So item H is for Union County's operation, and they're utilizing state mass transit funds and associated local funds. Item I and J is to utilize those rural formula funds, and they will be going for, I is for the Senior Services of Chester, and they'll be using it for administration, operations, and capital, as well as J is for Lancaster area ride services, and once again, they'll be using it for administration, operations, and capital. Item K is for inclusion of 1 new project in the BCD Cog region. Once again, it's for Tri-County Link, and they will use that rural formula funding, and they will be using it to use their admin, operations, and capital for their rural system. Item L is for inclusion of 1 new project in the Chats MPO, and this is for CARTA. And they're going to be using what's that bus and bus facility formula funding that we receive, and they will be using it for capital items. Item M is for inclusion of 1 new project in the Flats MPO for PD RTA, and they will be using small urban funds as well as their state mass transit funds and local funds for operations and capital items. Item N is for inclusion of 1 new project in the PD Cog region. And once again, this is for PD RTA. They will be utilizing rural funds and their mass transit funds and local funds for operations and capital of the rural transit program. Items O through R are for 4 new projects in the Lower Savannah Cog region. All 4 of these projects will utilize rural formula funding, and they will be used for operations. O is for Aiken Area Council on Aging. P is for the Orangeburg County Transit. Q is for Bamberg Council on Aging. And R is for the system in Barnwell County. And then finally, item S is for inclusion of 1 new project in the Arts MPO. And this is actually for the Lower Savannah Cog, and they have a Best Friends Express, which is for their large urban area. So this is funding they receive directly from the FTA. And then it's also for their associated state mass transit. And they will be using it for admin, operations, and capital. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Good. Yes, sir. Commissioner Blackwell.
So this is mainly admin costs?
So some of them. So we allow transit agencies to determine how they can best utilize their funds. Each one of them has a different matching ratio for these items, but admin cost is an allowable expense under FTA rules.
None of these are capital, or?
Some of them could be capital. They're allowed to use them for administration, for their operations, or for capital expenses. So it's up to each agency to provide us a budget that we review to see how they best need to use their funds on a yearly annual budget.
That was my next question. Is there DOT office analysis of their requests?
Yes, they have to submit.
Self-policing themselves?
They have to submit a budget to us every year before they're allowed to get an agreement from us. So we review that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Questions? Is there a motion for approval of item 10.5, revisions to the 24 to 2033 STIP for transit-related matters? All right, motion, second? Second. Thank you. Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, item 10.5, revision of the 2024 to 2033 STIP for transit-related matters is approved. Thank you, Deputy Secretary Necker. 10.6 is next, the revision of the 2024 to 2033 STIP. Deputy Secretary Quattlebaum will present this item.
Good morning. In Section 10.6, we are requesting approval for the revision of the 2024 to 2033 statewide transportation improvement program to include 5 items and the removal of 1 item. The inclusion items are as follows. $1.05 million in CMAQ funding for the construction phase of work for the Celanese Corridor traffic signal improvements in York County. CMAQ funding is congestion mitigation air quality improvement funding. The next item is $1.05 million in regional mobility funding for the PL phases of work for Newberry and Fairfield counties, bike and pedestrian master plans, and the PE phase of work for the US 21 and SC 200 intersection improvement in Fairfield County. These projects are located in the Central Midlands COG region. The next inclusion item is $3.2 million in regional mobility funding for the construction phase of work for the US 76 and the SC 602 signal improvement projects in Lexington and Richland counties. These projects are in the Coates MPO region. The next item is $2,576,400 in regional mobility funding for the construction phase of work for the City of Charleston's dynamic message sign deployment, which is located in the Chats MPO region. And the last inclusion item is $3.5 million in regional mobility funding for the PE phase of work for the US 378 Operational and Design Improvements Project in Sumter County, which is located in the SUAT's MPO region. The feasibility study was previously approved and has been completed, so SUAT's is ready to advance the project development now. The one item to be removed is $9.1 million in regional mobility funding for the right-of-way and construction phases of work for the SC 150 and S 111 intersection improvements in Cherokee County in the Appalachian COG region. This project included redesigning 2 intersection improvements in the city of Gaffney. However, a low-cost improvement was implemented by our district office, which really corrected the deficiency, so the COG no longer needs to pursue this project at this time. And I would be happy to take any questions.
Does anyone have any questions in the commissioners? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval of item 10.6? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, item 10.6, revision of the 2024 to 2033 STIP is approved. Thank you, Ms. Quattlebaum. The next item of new business is item 10.7, changes to the state highway system. Deputy Secretary McCotry will present this item.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Secretary, and other members of the commission. Item 10.7, changes to the state highway system. I request commission approval of the additions, deletions, and revisions to the state highway system as shown on the attached pages, and the authority to convey right-of-way to the appropriate entities. The request includes 19 segments on the secondary road system, resulting in a reduction to the secondary system of 4.615 centerline miles, equating to 9.230 lane miles. This ends my request for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Deputy Secretary McCotry? If not, is there a motion for approval of item 10.7, changes to the statewide highway system?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, item 10.7, changes to the statewide system is approved. Thank you, Mr. McCotry. Is there any old business we need to take up?
Mr. Chairman, we have no old business for the commission's consideration.
Thank you. I will then call on my fellow commissioners for their concluding comments this morning, and I would begin with Commissioner Johnson.
With the acknowledgement of the work that our team did during the recent storms and all, I want to commend the rest of the staff for their participation and support with that, and the members of the DOT community, an amazing job, and we thank you all for it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Dukes?
Again, I recognize the members or the new leads candidates, and thank you for your work and what you do for the agency. And secondly, the recent storms and the recognition, I know that I had some personal involvement with our district, and I wish that Robert was still here, but really applaud them for their efforts. Welcome to our new commissioner, Mr. Marty. Thank you for being here. And I had the opportunity to coordinate a public forum in the Chapin area that allowed DOT to make a presentation, and I really appreciate our public affairs people for their support, and Joey McIntyre for his being there. Our church hosted that, and we had 225 people, that were in attendance, and we got media coverage and very, very positive. So thank you very, very much for that support. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Christopher.
Yes, sir. Want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing forward so we could recognize the great work of all of our people, and particularly district offices during the storms. But again, want to thank all of our team for everything you do on a daily basis. We really appreciate you. To the lead group, we're really excited that you're taking this next level in your leadership here with SCDOT, and we greatly appreciate all of you. So we look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the future. And Commissioner Sauls, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Commissioner Spencer.
Yes, sir. Chairman, great meeting. Congratulations. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. And Commissioner Sauls, we'll welcome you, and we're looking forward to working with you. One of the lead group back there is Sean Fudge. Thank you for your work on the bridge over 17 that makes life easier for us traveling north on 17. And I just wanted to comment on the Be That Driver campaign. I think that's a great thing. I think we all ought to challenge ourselves to be that guy, be that girl that drives well and doesn't text and drive, or try to save people's life. And that leads me into the April 23rd memorial service that we're having. I attended that last year, and it was a moving experience to see the families of those that have fallen working for SCDOT, the workers that have been killed on the side of the road. And it's a dangerous job, and just don't ever take that lightly. And if you get a chance to come to that, it's a worthy function, a meeting or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hemingway.
Yes, we attend these meetings every time, and we come to this session, and we're always giving our accolades to staff and the employees with the department for whatever the latest event that has taken place and the great job you've done. But I'm just thinking back and watching the progress that's been made and the progression of the modernization effort over the past months and almost year, and where it's come to and nearing its completion. And what started out, in my opinion, being a witch hunt turned out to be a process of education and educating legislators to where they've actually done an about-face and making a lot of inclusions that are directed towards themselves, really, to be able to take measures that allow us and allow you to do your jobs more efficiently and more expeditiously through some permitting allocations. And I think it's just a testament of the jobs you do that through that process that has come to the public's attention through an educational process, that there are qualified people doing great jobs and great work with the resources they have, and the real issue is lowering the bar on some constraints and increasing the resources that we need to move forward more quickly. So thank you for being a part of the effort that now I hope is getting the right attention and the right resources to be able to allow everyone to do a great job.
Thank you. Well said. Commissioner Blackwell.
Normally, by the time you get to me, you've been thanked 100 times, but I still want to thank the staff here for all the hard work you do and what you have to put up with. I also want to thank the governor for having faith in me. I filled an unexpired term for a few months last year, and I appreciate the confidence he's showing in me. And I want to thank the Senate committee or the Senate for their unanimous support, and commend the Transportation Committee of the Senate. I was the first one up, so I'm the one that dealt with about, it seemed like 2 hours of questions, but I'm sure it was more like 15, 30 minutes, something like that. But I've been around politics for more than 30 years, and I've never seen a more professional, respectful group of men and women than I did at that committee meeting. And I thank the Senate for the hard work they do, and I thank the House for the hard work they do. Have great respect for Speaker Smith and Speaker Pro Tem, Tommy Pope, and the rest of them. Little perplexed, Sal touched on it, by the Modernization Committee and the direction they were headed, because normally you want the commission, we're the public's oversight accountability arm, so you would think, especially with situations like I-85, they would want to make sure the oversight is strong and well structured. At times, it looked to me like they were trying to water down the oversight, but they are working on it, and hopefully they'll come up with a great plan. And I just want to assure the governor and the public that I'll, as one commissioner, do the best I can to make sure roads are done on time and under budget. And hopefully, in the end, there'll be some great actions by them. Some of the House members may want to focus more on policy instead of social media posts at times, but I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Commissioner Rhodes.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations. Look forward to working with you this year. I always enjoy working with my colleagues, and it's great to have a new colleague on the commission. Marty, welcome. I am no longer the most junior member of the commission, but I still am the youngest, so no offense. But a lot of great things today. You know, Britt alluded to it, this is an election year, And it's amazing how many people can identify a problem without a solution. And I want to thank the staff for being solution-oriented all the time. So you guys, when I say that, I mean it in a gender-neutral way, but the staff of the DOT is very professional. And I think it's our job as a commission to take some of what we know out into the community. And just a couple data points, because being in business a lot of times is first about the people, but then secondly, it's about the numbers. 47 people are alive this year versus this point last year because of the improvement in the traffic fatalities. So that's 47 people that are having a moment with loved ones that at this point last year. So that's incredible. Our rural road program is 95% to our 10-year target, 95%. And as someone that grew up in a rural county, that's important because those lane departures are real. Unfortunately, a lot of us that grew up in rural communities have friends that departed a lane, and that was it. The bridge program, 86% is complete or underway of the 10-year plan. So again, 86%, I was a pretty good student, but 95 and 86 got some accolades when I got home. So great job to the staff on that. And speaking of the staff, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the three individuals, Donald Mahoney, Beck Owen, and Paul Phillips. I think it's Becky Owen and Paul Phillips. Oftentimes the solution to the problem is held by the people that are closest to the problem. And those are the folks in our maintenance sheds. Those are the folks out in the field. They're folks here at headquarters as well. Sometimes on this dais, maybe not, but really it's the people in the field. And so to acknowledge and recognize those three people, and it's nice, my colleague here, Commissioner Hemingway, and I were joking because one's from Clarendon County, where I'm from, and one's from Williamsburg County, which is nearby. So it's really cool to see that recognition. And hats off to the government relations team on getting us $400 million to go out and do the people's work. That's just fantastic. And this is something that really makes me proud, is that we have more competition in our vendor space. So when we had 2 pavement marking vendors recently, and I know we have friends from industry in here, competition benefits the citizens of this state. It's what built American capitalism, and it's what we need more of. So we're going to work to get more money to SCDOT to do the work of the people, but we need our friends in industry to partner with us so that we can do it faster and less expensive. I think we all can agree on that. So I want to thank you for all you do. God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sauce, would you like to?
I'd first want to just thank Secretary Powell and especially Miss Susan. Yesterday and over the past couple of weeks, becoming acclimated with or starting the acclimation of SCDOT in the role of a commissioner. They've been fantastic. And Miss Susan's been holding my hand and is so helpful keeping all of us organized, as you all are very accustomed to and know very well, but it's all new to me. So. But it's just easy to see and easy to recognize, the organization here, the talent, the skills that everyone has, especially in this room and elsewhere. So I'm excited about the opportunity and look forward to doing good things and a great 2026.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sir. Well, I'll conclude with a few comments, and one of the things I want to do first is recognize our partners that are here from the Federal Highway Administration. So Jermaine Hannon, the Division Administrator, and Aaron Dawson, the Deputy Division Administrator, are sitting right here on the front row. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here, and we appreciate your partnership and its great value, hopefully both directions. So thank you. I want to thank the leads of group for being here, and enjoy having you, and know you can't hide on the back row anymore. We now know who you are. So thank you for your contributions now and what will come in the future. We have a lot of faith and trust in you. Safety, I'm glad to see this report. I used to work on the highway safety report for the state back 30-something years ago. It's extremely important to me personally, as I said, when I was elected chair for this commission. I'm looking for great reports and great action coming out of tomorrow's event. And I think we just all need to continue to push the safety message. It's so important. And especially now that things like the hands-free legislation is now in full effect, that we continue to encourage our friends and family to put it down while they're driving. I want to encourage the commission members to attend as many as the upcoming events as you can. I will say the memorial service is one of the most moving and touching that I've ever been involved with any part of my life. And I think it's an honor that we are included, and we should be there if you can when that comes out. I know Susan Johnson will put that schedule out again. And also we have, I think, an I-95 bridge announcement coming up soon, or event coming up soon. And again, if you can make it to that, that would be wonderful. And let me just conclude saying how honored I am to have this opportunity to chair the commission and to work with the SCDOT staff. I've seen them in action for years, but I'm glad that new commissioners now see what is all taking place here. We just don't probably realize everything done each day. So thank y'all for that opportunity. And with that, I will say before we adjourn that the audit committee will meet today in room 306, 15 minutes after adjournment. So that's going to be at 10:45 based on this. The next commission meeting will be held here in Columbia on May 21st. Now, is there a motion to adjourn the commission meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing no opposition, this meeting is adjourned at exactly 10:30 a.m.
Well, I meant to